Second up is a colorful pot, and this little pot with a plant can add a fresh note to your table. You'll need a pot. You'll just want to make sure that it is clean on the outside and dry. Some Mod Podge. I'm using the matte version, but you can use the outdoor version if you have it. It's even better, but this will work. Some fabric pieces. I've got one piece here that's going to cover the whole pot. If you don't have fabric, you can use some thick paper pieces. A craft brush. I'm using a foam craft brush, but this brush will work just fine. Some scissors, and I've got a plant in a plastic liner, and I'm going to pop that in the pot when we're all done. Any sort of pot will work. You just want to make sure it's clean and free of dirt at the very top on the inside as well. So I'm going to lay out my fabric and make sure that it will cover the entire pot, and I'll have some overlap here which I'm going to trim once we get to that point. But first I'm going to cover the pot with a coat of Mod Podge, and depending on how thick your fabric is and the type of surface that your pot is, you may have to add more than a thin coating, a little bit thicker. But this should get us going. I have a thinner fabric here, so this should be sufficient. Cover the whole pot. Make sure I get the bottom and underneath the lip here. I want the fabric to stick. We'll work with the top once we get the sides on. So I'm going to lay my pot down on my fabric with a little bit of overhang at the top and bottom. And then I'm going to take my hand underneath and just press the fabric against the pot, pushing out any wrinkles or bubbles as I go. And I can see that I've got quite a bit of overlap on this side. So I'm going to cut this corner off. This will help it lay flat, give it a nice clean look. So I'm pressing out as many wrinkles and bubbles that I can feel as I go around the pot. And I'm going to bring this side up. Make sure it covers the top. And I can see that I've got quite a bit of overlap on this side. So I'm going to cut a nice straight line at an angle. So I guess it's an and make sure that it fits. Still got a little bit extra down here, so I'm going to cut a little bit more. A little bit of overlap is okay. Cutting at an angle to make sure I get the top covered. Perfect. So now that I've got a little bit of overlap here, I'm going to put a little bit on the fabric where it overlaps so that it will stick. And I'm going to smooth it around the same way I did the other side. Make sure I get the bubbles out and any creases. So that's good for now. Looks nice. Push out any of these bubbles. And Mod Podge is a little forgiving, so you can reposition things if you need to. If you've got too many wrinkles. And then I'm going to take a little bit more Mod Podge right at the top here. Make sure it sticks. Okay, and then I'm going to do some trimming at the top. So I only want about an inch or so, and I can feel the edge with my finger here. us a little bit of an overhang. So once I get that cut all the way around, we're going to flip that over, but first I'm going to do the bottom. The bottom has a lot of extra overhang here, so I'm going to cut the extra fabric off of that. And then we're going to fold this one over too, but first we're going to cut some slits about 1 inch apart. And then I'm going to put a little bit of Mod Podge on the inside, especially around the edge. And then one section at a time, I'm going to fold these over and press and go all the way around the bottom of the pot. And we can add some more Mod Podge here if we need to. I'm going to cut that extra piece off. But we'll make sure that it's flat around the very edge. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to cut some slits. I'm not going to go too far down. Just enough to give us a clean fold over. So it'll be like that. That's perfect. I'm going to put a little bit of Mod Podge just on the inside and on the rim. And it's okay if you miss a few spots because we're going to go back over the whole pot with another coat of Mod Podge. But I'm going to start here and just press and press the sides over. And if it doesn't look like it's sticking very well, you can add some more Mod Podge. Which I will do. And we'll go around the pot this way. We can go back and touch up again if we need to when we put our final coat on, but that's good to get it stuck and set. So that looks pretty good. So now you have a semi-finished pot, but you get the idea of how beautiful it looks. So our final step is to put another coat of Mod Podge over the entire pot. And I'm not going to put it on the bottom just yet because I want to be able to set the pot down. And do the top edge. And you can see where you left off on this. Sometimes it's hard to see what you've covered and what you haven't, but it shows up as a milky film until it's dry. So make sure I've got it evenly coated. I don't want any bubbles or lines showing. And then I'm going to do the rim. down and I can do another coat right around the inside again, just to make sure that that lays flat and it fastens it to the pot. Okay, no bubbles. So there you have it. You have a beautiful pot, and then once it's completely dry, you can pop your plant in like that and it'll be beautiful. If you have a pot that has a hole in the bottom like this one for a drainage hole, and you're putting in a liner which also has holes on the bottom, you can pop a little bottle cap from a water bottle or any sort of plastic bottle right over the top of that, and then you can set your pot in. So you've got some drainage, but it won't drip all over your table.